Excitement on the Plains Saturday as Auburn welcomed in Georgia, but what was fun in the pregame turned into frustration by the final whistle.
Cue the confetti. For the first time in nearly 2 decades, Alabama men's basketball is an SEC champion. Ellie says don't be afraid to put yourself out there, and who knows, you may be surprised at what you can accomplish. In Auburn, Hailey Sutton, WSFA 12 Sports. Bo Nix is an Auburn man no more. The play caller has decided to move on from the Plains and find a new home to play football. That message you just saw coming from Bo Nix' social media late Sunday night. You can see it right here on his Instagram page. That's where he told the world he has officially entered the transfer portal. He's not kidding when he says it's become second nature to make contact at the plate. Just last week, he cranked out 3 home runs, scoring 8 times and knocking in 7 RBIs. So, in one other small detail, he ranks 3rd nationally for homers this season. When you think about the legacy that you've built, not just here in Troy, but in the NFL and beyond that, and you look at how this university has taken you in as their son, so to speak, yes, from your perspective, that's got to make you feel good. Yeah, Stephen, this one was a crazy atmosphere. Even being up in the press box, you could hear just how loud it was. And I think I was told it was a sold-out game. So a really good atmosphere going into this one and coming into the matchup. Alabama 41-25-4 all-time against Georgia. They've never lost an SEC championship matchup to the Dogs. And really, they came out playing hard, ready to go. Nick Saban 8-2 all-time against Georgia, while Kirby Smart 0-3 against Nick Saban. Saying all of that, and the Crimson Tide still the underdog coming into this one, and you could tell from the opening whistle they were playing with a chip on their shoulder, just like in that Iron Bowl last week. The Tide was down 10 points early in this one, but rather than keep us on our toes for 4 quarters, Bryce Young leveled up and took control for his team today. Stephen, a rare smile and a playful Nick Saban after this one. 41-24 the final for Alabama. As for what's next, the Crimson Tide will either be headed to Dallas or be headed to Miami for one of the first games of that college football playoff. But one thing is for sure, after the win over #1 Georgia, they are more than likely going to be in that college football playoff conversation tomorrow. Stephen. Well, it definitely caught my attention, and being the amateur outdoor enthusiast that I am, I had to give riverboarding a go. With the help of Kevin, I was suited up and ready to catch some waves, or should I say rapids. Now, I'm not going to lie. I was pretty nervous approaching the very small drop on the Tallapoosa River, but Kevin says that's what makes riverboarding so exciting. Like you said, we haven't seen the Biscuits suit up since September of 2019 because of the COVID-19 pandemic, and what a season that was for the Biscuits. 88 wins that year, the most in team history, 2 divisional titles in their 5th playoff appearance. The Butter and Blue hoping to make it 3 in a row on a warm evening over at Riverwalk Stadium. The home team found themselves trailing late in the contest, but have no fear. The walk-off Warriors are here. Bottom of the 9th, 2 on base. You can bet on Chris Betts to put this game to bed. He belts a booming shot over the left field wall for the 3-run walk-off homer to seal the deal. Make it 3 in a row for the good guys. Biscuits win it 6-5. A sold-out crowd here at Protective Stadium. The field now covered with confetti after the Birmingham Bowl, but unfortunately, it wasn't the Auburn Tigers celebrating this one. It's a video that went viral on social media. Here you see running back Ezra Gray from Alabama State sharing a special moment with Jackson State head coach Deion Sanders at SWAC Media Days. But just what were they talking about? Things are heating up on the Plains, and I'm not just talking about the temperature. As we inch closer to kickoff, Auburn head coach Brian Harsin has some big decisions to make about his lineup, and it all starts at the quarterback position. Man, what a game. 90,000 strong here at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, and you could feel the energy from every single one of the fans in the stands as Alabama and Florida met for the first time in 2021. Both teams undefeated, both wanted to keep it that way. He's standing next to me this whole time. Iverson, you talk about an impressive game. When you watch those highlights, how does that make you feel? Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned it. The one thing that everyone's always told me about this game is that there's always pandemonium on the Plains, right? And one thing that I'm sure people didn't expect
at home was to have the number 3 Crimson Tide trailing for as long as they did. 59 minutes and 34 seconds for the Crimson Tide trailing in this one.
And not a great way for the Hornets to start the month of November with just 4 games left on their schedule. Alabama State has decided to fire Donald Hill-Ely. It's a decision that comes after the Hornets dropped their 4th straight Magic City Classic game to Alabama A&M over the weekend. Well, as of right now, Bo Nix is listed as the starting quarterback on the depth chart ahead of that huge game against LSU coming up this weekend. TJ Finley is still the backup, but according to Harsin, nothing is set in stone. He says they'll go back to practice tomorrow, and that's when the evaluation for the starting guy will be. It's been 2 weeks since Tiger Woods was involved in that car accident that left him unconscious and in the hospital. Thankfully, he's on the road to recovery, and one local women's golfing organization is showing their support for the legendary golfer by wearing his iconic colors. Alabama head coach Nick Saban has been preaching playing with consistency and maintaining intensity for weeks. And finally, his team took his advice. From the opening whistle on Saturday, the Tide set the tempo and kept it up throughout the game. Day 3 of SEC Media Days in Hoover, and the focus was on the national champions. Alabama and the Crimson Tide set to begin the season in September against Miami, and the boys of fall are ready for some football. With the new coaching staff on the Plains, things will look a little bit different this football season for Auburn, but that change is good, and several of the players are embracing new roles in order to bring a new identity into the Tigers locker room. Head coach Chip Lindsey told reporters that not all games are won by outscoring opponents, and that couldn't be more true for the Trojans on Saturday night. Hey Val, yeah, in just a few hours, Montgomery Catholic will make their way through this giant inflatable helmet. They'll take the field and begin their journey back to the 3A state championship game. So the confetti has been thrown, capping off a historic season for Georgia State. An 8-5 finish for the Panthers, one of the best in program history. For 43 years, this has been Coach Ken Whittle's normal. Music playing at the ballpark as his team takes the field on game day. But at the end of this season, he's decided to hang up the cleats. Move over, boys. There's a new sport in town. Come this fall, you could see girls suiting up under the Friday night lights. Now, Stephen, that Battle of Highway 14 trophy was just presented to these guys behind me. Guys, undefeated so far this season. I just got one question asked. How's it feel to be undefeated? So good! Well, there you have it, Steven. An undefeated record so far for the Blue Devils. I'm going to let these guys celebrate, and we're going to head back to Montgomery. But, man, what a fun game and a good win for these guys. And, Steven, of course, you can't have a good performance without a fantastic student section. So I've got the Marbley student section here turning up. We'll have to be sure to check in with the other side as we get ready for this rivalry game tonight. But what an exciting matchup we have as we get ready for a non-conference rivalry game. It's the Battle of the Bulldogs, Steven, and I am so excited for tonight's game. No better way to spend a sunny spring afternoon than out fishing at Lake Martin. But what if I told you your catch could actually win you $1 million? Yes, you heard that right. Crank for Bank is a 13-week fishing event that gives fishermen of all kinds the opportunity to reel in the big bucks on Lake Martin. When COVID-19 forced fall classes to be canceled last year, best friends Luke and Daniel decided they wanted to do something a little different. So they grabbed their fishing poles and hit the road.
I'll tell you when to release. Go forward. Release.
I lost my fish.
You did.
When Devontae Smith announced he would return to Tuscaloosa for his senior season, we had no idea just how big of an impact he would make on college football. I guess his Heisman speech was right. If you put your mind to it, you can do anything.
We had a mission. Everybody wanted to end things the right way, and we just all came to work every day and just put in the work, and we got the result that we wanted.
From clinching the national title as a freshman.
Jones flips it to him. Devontae headed for the end zone, and Alabama back on top.
To putting on a clinic as a senior, Devontae Smith has proved he's the real deal.
I wouldn't be able to do none of this without my teammates or without God. Just coming here, I just put in the work every day, no matter what the situation was, just believing in my coaches and them putting me in the right situations just to make plays.
You're talking about the ultimate warrior and the ultimate competitor, and you know, I'm so happy for him that he was recognized as the best player in college football, because I don't think anybody's done more for their team than he has for our team.
The Heisman hangover not a factor for the receiver. Without batting an eye, the dude put up some serious numbers in the first half, breaking the records for most catches in a national championship game and most yards in a first half of the contest, finishing the opening frame with 215 yards and 3 touchdowns on 12 receptions. However, the magic came to a halt in the third. Smith would leave the field with a dislocated finger and watch the remainder of his final college football game from the sidelines. He was still named the offensive MVP, a testament to the work he's put in all season long.
He's a great competitor. I heard somebody say he set some kind of record in the first half of the game. Heavens knows what he'd have done if he'd have played the whole game.
I just practiced hard all week, just worked and just came to do my job, and it just worked out well for me and the team.
A man of few words, leaving a lasting legacy as the greatest receiver to ever don the crimson and white. Who would have thought that a game-winning touchdown in his first year at Alabama would only be the beginning? Hailey Sutton, WSFA 12 Sports.
Well, tonight we're hearing from the family of Dimitri McKee, the Lee High School football player who passed away last Friday. I spoke with his cousin about how they want him to be remembered.
It went south very fast.
Heartbreak for the Lee High School football team and the family of Dimitri McKee. The family still coping with the loss of their high school senior.
You know, you always wonder, like, man, this kid did so much and why this had to happen, but, you know, God have his own way of showing us who in control for sure.
It started last Tuesday evening. McKee wasn't feeling well at football practice, and after being checked out by the athletic trainers, the family says Coach Eric Hudson made the decision to call the ambulance. McKee arrived at the hospital at 8:30.
He was fine for a little while. You know, he was still responsive and all, but he was kind of making a sound like some type of breathing sound or something as they was getting him off the ambulance.
McKee was transported to UAB on Wednesday, and after 3 days in the hospital, he passed away on Friday.
I think when he got to UAB, I think they, you know, there wasn't no activity left, and I think in between that time right there, you know, and this ain't nothing the doctor's saying, this is what I think. I think he just, you know, his brain just had too much heat that long in your brain. You have a fever from basically 9 o'clock to 2 in the morning. That's a long time.
The school has since canceled Friday's season opener against Daphne, and the family is doing everything they can to be strong for McKee's mother.
We're doing the best we can at this time. You know what I'm saying? Everybody just trying to stick together, but, you know, to be strong for her.
As they try to move forward, Marshall hopes McKee will be remembered just as he was, a gentle giant whose kind spirit touched the lives of so many.
You know, he was so sincere about making it for his family. And he always said, I'm going to take care of all y'all when I make, you know, just smiling. But his work ethic, you know, his personality and the genuine care that he had for his family. You know what I'm saying? Even during tough times, he didn't let it show.
Lee High School will hold a balloon release in his honor this Friday at 7:45. The funeral will then be held Saturday at Crampton Bowl. We continue to keep his family and the entire Lee High School family in our thoughts and prayers. That's your look at sports. We're back after this.